think I'm live. Greetings, and welcome to Fridays from the Hildt. I'm Christopher Logan Hildt, and my family is, of course, making noise upstairs because I'm streaming live now. If I don't have any sound or anything in the chat, I need to... My glasses on, I better just keep them on for the stream. Okay, hello Daniel Kearney. Hello Grumpy Old Slan, nice to see you. Welcome to Fridays from the Hildt. That music was by Never Stop Us and Jay Taro, used with permission. We're going to try to keep this PG-13, but, you know, how things go. Alright. Let me see here. Okay, this week on From the Hildt, we had Dusty from the Hildt. Sorry about that. I'm still getting used to all this. That is not what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Okay. Dusty from the Hildt was pretty good. If you guys are into G.I. Joe, it looks like Red Power Ranger Fan 27 has jumped in. Hello. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to maybe jump in here. And didn't realize I'd be missing Bear's live stream for this, but like I said, next next week. I'm going to try to start an hour earlier. Next week I'm going to have a special guest. Maybe. So we'll keep that kind of a secret. But so does it sound good, everybody? I'm good. Thank you, Daniel. All right. First up, I wanted to talk about the game that we had on Sunday. Jake Pendragon, who is normally my co-host, is going to be here tonight, but he ran on Sunday, and we had a pretty good time. We actually got our butts kicked by a bunch of rats. It was a basic game, so we were really low hit point characters, low hit degree characters, and we went and after getting our butts kicked by rats, we turned around and embarrassed an ogre. So it was kind of fun. Any of you guys ever at low hit point or low level characters, as it were, for normal games, defeat something big and bad? I guess not. We'll see. Yeah, I got to remember that there's a delay in the chat. This is all new to me, guys. I've only done one of these. Oh, looks like Tiger Starcross has jumped in. Hello, Tiger. Looks like we're getting a few people to hang out with us tonight. All right. Normally Jake would pick up the slack here, but this week we're going to have a special video for Red Selenius, who was my brother, and he passed away in March, but he was supposed to do the show with me. And so I'm going to do a memorial video for him this week because we're having his memorial this week. And so I'm going to put out a heartfelt video for him. And I might do something for Hildt Lore Books, but probably not. Lenharrow is up live on Drive-Thru RPG, so if any of you are interested in Lenharrow Fantasy Adventures, both it and my Low Air Solo Adventures are available on Drive-Thru RPG as PDFs, and they're both also available on Amazon.com. Tiger says the giant rats are delicious. It depends on what species you're playing. Okay. I said all new to me, guys, so bear with me for a bit here. What we talked about this week was Lenharrow Enhanced Edition and how it's different from the Light Edition, which is Lenharrow Fantasy Adventures. Lenharrow Enhanced Edition is coming out within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, it'll definitely be on Amazon, and hopefully shortly thereafter it'll be on Drive-Thru RPG in PDF form, if not print on demand. I'm still figuring out how to do all that. So, both the Lenharrow Player's Guide and the Lenharrow Referee's Guide will come out, and we'll be able to have our Enhanced Edition, which has a ton more than our Light Edition. Our Light Edition is kind of a bare bones, basic version of the game, and the Enhanced Edition has everything else. If you want to just play a simple, straightforward game, then go for Lenharrow Fantasy Adventures. But if you want a lot more, then that's what the Enhanced Edition is for. So right after we bring those two books out this month, in July, we're putting out a Referee's Expansion, which is a creature guide, and also a Player's Expansion, which is a character creation guide. So if you guys are interested in that. Yeah, I came over from Yale Geek stream too. They're Grumpy Old Slam. That was interesting. You know, he runs a pretty interesting stream sometimes. Sometimes not so much. Yale Geek is kind of hit and miss for me, but I like him. He's pretty cool. And if you guys have any questions about the Enhanced Edition, you go ahead and shoot them at me. I'm gonna kind of keep plugging away here. Those cartoons at the beginning, that was my character that I created years ago called Dougie the Dragon. Dougie the Dragon, for me, I drew probably about 10 of those. But those are the only two I have done up on paint and put color to. So I decided to share them with everybody today, as I decided to make Dougie kind of the mascot for this show. Um, Ordinarily, like I said, Jake Pendragon would be with me, so this would kind of be a duo, and we'd be playing off each other a little bit. So this is all new to me about how to do these live streams, so I'm working at it. Oh, I'm super cheeky. Yeah, thank you, Tiger. Not as cheeky as I probably should be. I'm getting through my bullet points pretty fast. So nobody has any stories about game last week? Tiger and Red Power were actually in the game last week with me. I was playing a droll named Sebastian. He went by the name of Bass, and he was a bounty hunter, and basically rooked a bunch of other people into going and help me roust out my bounty. And then, oh, you meant for Dougie. Yeah, Dougie's cheeky, yes he is. But I tricked all the other players into going with me to roust out a bounty, and then I recruited him for a secret revolution I had going on. It was kind of fun. Well, then we all almost died about 3 or 4 times before we miraculously embarrassed this ogre. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we almost got killed by the zombies too, Tiger. Yes, we did. So, on Dusty from the Hildt this week, I talked about my favorite episode of Hearts and Canyons. That was a lot of fun to do that episode. Joe Takes Number 7. And this week I put out a small video. It was a trailer for Joe Takes Number 8, which is going to be the Baroness. So I hope you guys check that out. What game was this? Yes, it was Lenharrow, Grumpy Old Slam. Lenharrow is a lot different from other games. We don't use levels. It's kind of like a milestone and skills-based system, but I think it's totally unique. Basically, you play like 5 game sessions to start as a starting character, and then you get an increase where you get more hit points, more resistance rolls, which is what we kind of call saving throws. We call them resistance rolls. We like to change the names to protect the guilty, but it's pretty much any game that you play, any system. I think, depending on if you have a good enough referee, can be made fun. Lenharrow is fun and easy to learn. That's why I wanted to put out the light edition, the Lenharrow Fantasy Adventures book. It's actually 4 books in one. It comes with a mini player's guide, a mini rest guide, a mini creature guide, and a full-length adventure at the last. So, right now you pretty much can get it for free on Drive-Thru RPG. When we get the new PDF for that, our fellow author Katie Robbins, she's doing a Kindle version for me, and when we get that version, we'll probably start charging a little bit for that, maybe like $5 or $10, depending on how we feel it's going. Right now, a lot of them people have downloaded a lot off of Drive-Thru RPG. I haven't checked out what's been going on with Lore Solo Adventures because that just came up this morning. So, but Lore Solo Adventures is actually 2 adventures in one. It starts with a basic adventure, and then there's an intermediate adventure, which is the way we kind of do our game system. Instead of having levels, we have like hit degree and skills, kind of a mix. And you fall into the categories of basic, intermediate, and advanced, which is kind of how most games actually work. But without level, you spend your experience points on whatever skills you want in that game. Based on your level, you have better access to certain types of skills. And like the light edition doesn't have like martial arts skills, but the enhanced edition adds that. So it can be a lot of fun with Lenharrow, depending on. And the light edition and the enhanced edition are roughly the same game. The enhanced edition just has more. But yeah, Lenharrow goes on a really fast combat system, using a D10 for initiative, which we call first strike. And basically, you roll a 1, you go first. You roll a 2, you go second. It really goes that fast. And if you want to cast a spell, you roll 4-sided and add your first strike modifier to that for the type of spell you're casting. And that's what first strike, you go in within 1 through 10. So it's really simple, and that's the way they did it in 2nd edition, AD&D. So we just kept using that because it works. What we got here? Ref runs the game they want to use and uses the rules that suit their needs. Yeah, that's exactly how Lenharrow works. It's very unchained, according to so that's what the Tiger had to say. The Tiger actually helped me create the game system. So right now she's being very helpful in the chat, and I appreciate it. But yeah, if you're interested in a game, Grumpy Old Slam, we are, like I said, we play every Sunday. I'll be running this Sunday. We've been thinking about live streaming it, but we have to clear it with all the other players that are in the game, and I haven't done any of that anything on Discord yet. I'm on the server, but I haven't exactly figured that one out yet. I'm still working on things. I've been watching a lot of Bear Gen XGM, which I know you guys do too. I guess you're not into heroic, which is what he's doing tonight. As soon as I finish up here, I'll probably head over there and check that out for at least a little bit. So what kind of games do you guys play? Daniel and Grumpy Old Slam, if you're both still in the chat. Okay. I'm still, like I said, I'm still getting used to this, and it's so much easier with a buddy to chat back and forth with. Being alone is all new to me, and I'm trying to get used to that, but we're working it out. So haven't got really any questions in the chat yet, so I'll answer any questions you guys have, and if you mostly play OSE and Yogg on the Yogg server. Yeah, the old geek, I should say. He's got some interesting stuff going on. Ain't that the truth? Typing is slower. It's a lot of fun. What is Yogg? Yeah, Yogg is the old geek. He spells out his name Ye Old Geek, but it's actually pronounced the old geek, and that would be YOG. Tiger wanted to know who Yogg was or what is Yogg. Yogg's just another YouTuber, another game master, really, who's using the medium to get his ideas out there. OSE is old school essentials. Yeah, you couldn't remember the last word. Thanks, Grumpy Old Slam. D&D clone, yeah, pretty much. It's like old school gaming. So close to BECMI or BX, the old D&D basic set, with a little bit of AD&D first and second edition mixed in. Would you agree with that, Slam? Yeah, remember the original. Original D&D is where I learned how to play. I didn't really get into AD&D till the late 80s. I mean, I had a few of the books and had played a couple of times, but I really started out with basic D&D. The first thing I ever got was the D&D Expert box set with Isle of Dread and the Expert rulebook. That was pretty cool. I didn't get the basic set for quite a while after that, so I was mostly running expert games and playing expert games for a long time. I had War Rafts of Kron, and I started buying some of the other D&D adventures. I tried to stick close to D&D because that's the system I had when I first started. And I picked up, really oddly enough, I picked up 3 adventures at KB Toys in a 3-pack for it was like $3 at the time, really cheap. And Castle Amber was in there. and we played Castle Amber to death. That adventure was a lot of fun. And so when I started playing AD&D and second edition came out and they created the Ravenloft campaign setting, it reminded me so much of Castle Amber that I jumped on that. We played a lot of Ravenloft games in the 90s. Your chat is weird, Tiger. Yeah, sometimes it can be. You're hoping to get an AD&D game, first edition game started soonish with some family, but all of us are busy, so it's slow getting it off the ground. Yeah, that happens. We try to play every other week, and I haven't done any online games really, but I love to sit behind a table and just game and run games or play games. I prefer to actually run behind a screen, but sometimes it's fun to just kick back and play. The Cavalier out of the Unearthed Arcana Tiger. That was a cool class. We actually came up with a booklet that we put together that was all the classes that we used, and we included a bunch of new ones. In my first major AD&D campaign, I had named Dwarf Elf off of the Dwarven Nation that I was running out of, and Cavalier, I included that in there. So when I met Tiger, that was one of the first classes she was able to play. I included something in there called the Sword Mage as well, and the Sword Mage was basically a fighter mage, but you could be a human and play it. There were certain things about AD&D that I kept tweaking it and making it different. So when third edition came out, I tried it. It just wasn't for me. And so the Tiger and I just created our own game system, and we've been playing that ever since. Tiger says, my second edition was the Ranger's Handbook and the Humanoids. Those were both good books. I love those. Did anybody else have any of those old leatherette brown class handbooks? I had all those. I love those. I tried to get those blue DM's Guide reference books, the DMGRs. The Castle Guide I had. I never could find the Catacombs Guide. I wanted that one. The other one I had was the Arms and Equipment Guide. That one was easy to find, though. Like I said, this is fun, but it's different from behind the camera. I'm fairly comfortable behind the camera when I'm making videos, but this is new for me. But I'm enjoying it. You had all of them, Daniel? Yeah, me too. I actually had 2 of the Bard's Handbooks and the Dwarves Handbooks. The Dwarves Handbooks was actually my favorite book of that series. The Dwarves Handbook, actually I preferred to play elves before that book came out, but after reading that, I created Dwarf Elf and I ran with it, and I loved it. Dwarf Elf was my jam back then, and I really based it off a lot of the Dwarves Handbook. In 97, Daniel says, I had over $7,500 worth of books and kept buying. Yeah, me too. I still have most of them. Grumpy Old Slant says, I remember seeing them, but was too broke at the time to buy anything. It's also the reason I didn't get into 3rd edition. Yeah, me too. The 90s were a time I was often broke. Yeah. I worked a lot in the early 90s, and once I started, dating the Tiger, I pretty much was buying stuff for her. But she's not that greedy, so I lucked out. Grumpy Old Slant adds, most of the books I was getting at the time were not for gaming. And Tiger says, yeah, 3rd edition killed the original. I kind of agree. 3rd edition actually made for a good system for video games. The few Baldur's Gate games for the players, for the PlayStation 2 were pretty good. Dark Alliance, I believe they called those. And they were fun, and they used the third edition system, and it worked. Yeah, Lizards on the Coast. Yeah, Lizards on the Coast. That's what we called WotC back then. I actually wanted to make an advertisement when we brought out Lenharrow, and if I can find an animator, I'm probably still going to do it, where we want to go kill the Lizards on the Coast and play Lenharrow, because they're trying to ruin our favorite game. But, that was years ago, and I don't think they ruined the game per se. They just, I don't know, they went in a different direction that I didn't want to go. And with all those books like you had there, Grumpy Old Slan, or was that Daniel? That was Daniel. Sorry, Daniel. Like you, I have so many books, and they made them obsolete. They were basically just reference books. And at least with first and second edition, you could easily convert back and forth and use both sets of books. But you couldn't do that with third edition, unless you totally converted it to their system or back to yours. Which is why the Tiger and I decided to create Lenharrow and make our own game system. I had been running a game called Carnage for a long time that I had done away with levels, and my gamers were loving it. So we decided to base it off of that, and we really jumped into Lenharrow. We created our own magic system, and basically we were still playing AD&D for about a decade with Lenharrow. But in like 2010, we totally revamped the system, and it's completely different. Each lifestyle, which is what we kind of call classes in our game system, uses its own combat die, and we use the D20 for ability checks and things like that, but not really for combat until you get into something we like to call advanced lifestyles. But that's a different book that's we're going to try to bring out next year that adds to our enhanced edition. So we're working on it. Daniel says he read a KB store, KB toy store. So being in a mall, I got their employee discount and would stop in once a day to Walden's bookstore. Yeah, I loved Walden Books. I missed that place. And KB's actually had a lot of game stuff. I was surprised. I picked up quite a bit of stuff there. A lot of the stuff that I never got, I could find at KB Toys. It was kind of weird. Grumpy Old Slant says, Lizards of the Coast, creators of Magic the Addiction. Yeah, I wasn't ever a big fan of that card game. It wasn't a bad card game. A lot of my gamers played it. But it seemed to me like it took the role-playing aspect out of gaming. And so what they call nowadays, they call murder hobos, loved Magic the Gathering. And so they played that. And so I actually lost quite a few players there for a while, but most of them came back after a while once they got bored with the card game. I miss KBs. Yeah, Tiger says she misses KBs. I do too. And Grumpy Old Slice is converting from 3rd edition was work. Yes, it was. They even had to put out a booklet in order to convert from AD&D 2nd edition to 3rd edition. I didn't really care for that. And Tiger liked the magic system, like that. Magic the Addiction. Yeah, I like that too. Hit the nail on the head with that. Yeah, we try here at From the Hill. Our magic system for Lenharrow works very similar to AD&D 2nd edition, only we kind of let the ref decide exactly how the spells work. So we kind of have a list of spells, and we differentiate it by the spell casting level and rank for the power level of the spell. Instead of a level for the spell and level for the casting, we separated that so it's less confusing. Tiger says no imagination in the Magic game. Yeah, it just was cards, and it was basically just opponents trying to kill each other. Grumpy Old Slant says Magic and murder hobos. Yeah. Okay, I disconnected for a while, so I hope I'm still connected. That was weird. Like I said, I'm still learning all this, but I'm getting it down. That's what happens when you use OBS, I guess. Grumpy Old Slant says, we're having a thunderstorm and my connection is getting flaky. Yeah, that happens to us. We're out here in northern Utah, and that happens sometimes. Yeah, we may have to disconnect. Well, I'm glad you joined us, Grumpy Old Slant. I hope Daniel's still around. Looks like we've got somebody else that jumped in. Hello to them, whoever you are, and welcome to From the Hill. Tiger says, I played 2 or 3 times and won every time with what was considered a weak deck. Yeah, Tiger pretty much is the type of person who can sit back and read the instructions within about 10 minutes and start beating everybody in no matter what game we play. With the exception of the old Avalon Hills game, Avalon Hill Titan. That one we were about dead even on that. But that one's sort of like chess mixed with what would be a good example. Final Fantasy Tactics. It was kind of, you build up your armies and then you go around in the different terrains and fight in different terrains, and that Titan was a lot of fun. Yeah, I love Titan too. Tiger says she loves Titan. If you haven't checked that one out, that one's hard to find nowadays, but Titan is a lot of fun. And that's what we would play sometimes when we were waiting for gamers to show up. A lot of times we'd have these Saturday game sessions where we'd start at like 3 o'clock and play till like midnight, and sometimes the players wouldn't show up till 5 or 6. So we'd have, whoever was early, we'd play board games and stuff with Munchkin and Titan. Sometimes we'd even play like Clue. Those were fun games, but we tried to stick with RPG type games to keep with the theme, so we would get in the mood for it. In Titan, the armies are monsters. Yeah, you could have like 7 monsters in a deck, and you could have up to 12 armies, and each army would have a headpiece, and you'd move them around through the various terrains, collecting more monsters, and build up your army. And then you'd split your armies to make more armies. It was kind of fun. So we probably lost some people with talking about Titan. Titan's an older game. Hopefully, Slan didn't get knocked out of the chat. I don't know who all's still here, but I'm going to be signing off pretty soon. I only kind of wanted to come on for about a half hour to let everybody know what was going on with the channel this week and what was coming up next week. For the moment, like I said, this Saturday we've got. That is not what I wanted to do. For the moment, like I said, this Saturday I've got the Baroness from the Hildt coming up for our G.I. Joe fans, and next week I will do on Fridays from the Hildt. I will definitely do a recap on our Sunday Lenharrow game, and hopefully I'll do something Lenharrow related during the week. But for the most part, most of my viewers over here are G.I. Joe fans, so I definitely will put out a preview for the new Joe Takes number 9, so probably on Monday again. That seems to be a good day to put it out because people want to know what's coming up, but they really don't want to watch anything for very long on Mondays, it seems like. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, I'm going to be heading out, so I hope everybody enjoyed Fridays from the Hillt this week, and hopefully we'll have that special guest next week. If not, we'll just go over the stuff we did this week. So, with that all being said, Logan out, and thanks for joining me on Fridays from the Hillt.